Et voilà.
My goodness, it's very, very cold. And I forget my mic. I didn't take my mic. We sit on top. So we have all these stops.
Yeah, we're just going to 9.
We're going to 9. Reversing rapids that I was talking about in my previous video. So we are going, where we are going? Here. So it's nearby here. Beautiful. This is the strangers who's traveling with me. I don't know who they are. I'm joking. They are my friends. They're my friends. She's one of my family members.
Yes.
She is New Yorker.
Wow.
We like to tease each other. Right? I'm camera shy.
Installed there as a navigational gas lamp in 1848. Construction site in North America. What really put St. John on the map was when in May of 1783, and then as we turn to the left, more of Beacon Hill in St. John. Now this is a heritage preservation area. The way repairs or additions done to these houses must conform to the architectural principles of the late Victorian era. And because St. John was established as a city by the Loyalists, we are now going to pass the old Loyalist Trinity Church. Coming up on your right, Trinity Church. There's a set of carillon bells in the steeple, and the weather vane on the top of the steeple is a gold-plated codfish.
This is a nice
Junction. Straight ahead, that's what's called the Old Stone Anglican Church. You can see why it's called the Stone Church. It's made of many little stones. What you're looking at is actually ballast rock architecture. Those little stones were ballast rocks. In the old days of the wooden sailing ships, they needed ballast or weight to sail at an even keel. So if a ship was coming over empty, you would get cuttings from a quarry, load them on, and when they got over here, they would dump those ballast rocks onto the dock, where local builders would buy them for pennies to the ton to construct walls, houses, or great pieces of architecture like that church. And there's another great example of ballast rock architecture coming up upside down. So, is our still people enjoying the summer? So coming up, the Imperial Theater.
This is the Imperial Theater.
I like this part.
Left to fill out. You were taxed on the appearance. And we're now headed towards the cathedral, constructed between 1861 and 1865. Now, traditionally, cathedrals are built in the capital city of a province. In the case of New Brunswick, that would have been Fredericton, about 100 kilometers or 60 miles up a river. But because the Irish Catholic population in St. John was so large, they had enough clout within the church to make sure the cathedral was built right here in St. John. And we're now going along Waterloo Street, named after Wellington's victory over Napoleon in 1815, which gives you the idea that 1815, this was a brand new street. And that's where we're headed now, to industrial center. Back then it was cotton mills and shipyards. And today it's still an industrial center based on the petrochemical industry. Ships still tie up there at Burma Wharf. Now the Marco Polo, the fall colors peaked about 2 weeks ago, but there's still some color happening. And we're now entering Rockwood Park. And coming up on your left, Lily Lake, with the Lily Lake Pavilion.
The trees, like this color because
Again, in the pavilion there are restroom facilities and a restaurant, big train museum. And again, the park's over 2,200 acres. It's a stone maple leaf comprised of stones from every province and territory in the nation. There on the right, Canada Monument. Lots of happy ducks. Now, when this park was started in 1880, much of it was swamp. So in St. John, for a long time, if you went south of the law, you were brought from the jail to here the paddy wagon, given a pick and shovel to help drain the swamps and build the berms that created those beautiful lakes. The lake is full of lily pads. And we're turning onto Mount Pleasant Avenue, where we will pass the Irving family mansion. It was built in 1854 and purchased by Casey Irving to be the family residence in the 1930s. And we're about to leave the late 20th century behind and enter a Victorian neighborhood. Intersection on the left is a memorial park to Casey Irving. There's a statue of Casey Irving in the center of that park. And on the right, the Irving family mansion there on the right, 1854. Sitting on its own parkland of 80 acres over that hill. Again, this area built up by the Victorians. There on the left is that great gray house right there, built by a prosperous Victorian businessman in the 1880s. He and his wife had 3 daughters and a son. And when each one of those daughters got married, they were given exactly the same wedding present right here. 3 identical houses for 3 daughters. And on the left, this great brick Edwardian mansion built by the Estabrooks. It's called the Red Rose Mansion because Estabrooks started the Red Rose Tea Company. And they invented the Humble Gauze tea bag. Yeah, no more loose tea for us. The tea bag was invented by the Estabrooks here in the 1890s. And at the beginning of the tour, I talked about ballast rock architecture and connection of stone. On the gauge, and the steam pressure got too high, kaboom. And the same thing used to happen to some early steam trains. Now, when the British built their fort, they first built it down by the water, close to where the cruise terminal is. And in 1776, some pesky American revolutionaries sailed up here, and they burned that fort to the ground. So when the British rebuilt the fort, they built it up here, up high, where they could get a good view of anyone trying to sneak up on them. going on to Douglas Avenue, which was also built up in the 1880s. And some of the clipper ship captains who built on the left side to get a view of the port would build watchtowers on the roof of their houses. Look to your left, up the small hill, you see that mansion with the roof. You see the watchtower on the roof on the left. Look up on the roof, there on the left. The Widow Watch. And this grand old building on your right, that's the old New Brunswick Museum. It's undergoing some extensive interior renovations. And you will see what you should be seeing, and that is, at high tide, the river being pushed upstream, a river in reverse. A river going in the wrong direction because it's being pushed by the most powerful and highest tides in the world. The Fundy Tide. And how does that work? It's because the Bay of Fundy has got a relatively shallow seabed and it's shaped roughly like a funnel. And every day, twice a day, 1,600,000,000 tons of seawater flood in and out of that funnel. And when all that water's flooding in, it's got nowhere to go but straight up. The rise and fall of this river is almost a mile wide when you get past the rapids, and that huge river is being pushed backwards. People like to see the rapids at low tide, but there's a ton of rapids in this world that just flow out to sea like they're supposed to. But this is the only river in the world that goes backwards, that reverses. A river at high tide reversing.
So this is the reversal river, right? It's going the back. Right over there. Going the opposite way. It's video. Thank you. Oh, it's cold.
Oh my god, I'm thirsty.
Hard running.
Huh?
If we can all take our seats.
Hard running.
Yes, continue. Oh,
How's the reversal?
here we go. Here we go. Here's it starts. Canada, it's cold.
Hopefully we're all aboard.
But this is the first time I saw this. Really? And today is the last time.
If we can all take our seats, please.
Comes here every week. Oh, but today is the last time. Okay.
So you get to see what people come here to see. An entire broad river in reverse. The only river in the world that goes backwards.
I should?
You need to emphasize on that this is the only river in the world which flows reverse.
Reverse
times-
backward.
Two times
Two
a day.
times in a day.
Certain time. Every 6 hours.
Look at the camera here.
every 6 hours, okay? And there's a difference. It's not always the same time. The times are always different. You need to Google it. There's schedule of the tides, and the tides goes low and high. Today was 24 feet high at 2:15 p.m. And what else? This is the only river in the world, okay, guys? You need to watch Tina's video about it.
Thank you for the
Dane,
Thank you.
Dane.
And there are many carved wooden. Gives you a great perspective on your cruise ship.
Half of the population of this town works for this company. Everybody wants to go out. Let's go. Radio Shack.
Plank restaurant. That the Plank restaurant's a great restaurant, and it's got a great view of the Rapids area, but it's almost 3 o'clock. There's a grand old Victorian mansion coming up on your right, built entirely of wood. There on your right.
Oh, it's right.
Grand old house.
So we came back basically to the same sushi place. Do you remember? Finally, we're gonna have our lunch. Ooh, it's so cold. Here we go. This is the last time I'm being in Canada. Most probably first and last time. I don't know if we are not gonna see Canada anymore, but I'm very happy to be here. I feel blessed, and who knows? Life is unexpected. So we are leaving Canada. This is the last stop. We are going to Portland tomorrow. Then we're heading back to Caribbean. I have different feeling at the moment. Hope it's for everything for good. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Until now, bye. I'm gonna miss these buildings. Ooh, Halloween! Hi!